In a shocking twist of journalistic whiplash, the mainstream media has suddenly remembered that presidents get death threats. Groundbreaking. Wow, we didn't know that. After years of shrugging off Epstein and brushing off actual corruption, now the media is hyperfixated on Donald Trump or President Trump's assassination attempts and whether the Secret Service is even good at their job. Why do we care about protecting politicians? Suddenly it's we must defend our sacred leaders at all costs. I'm sorry, y'all, but no, I'm not sorry. These people are the same people that were unwilling to protect kids and still are unwilling to protect kids from sex traffickers based on last week's story. We've had assassination attempts before on different political leaders, people like Reagan, JFK, which obviously wasn't just an attempt. Representative Steve Scalise, I don't know if you guys remember that story back in 2017 where he was at a baseball practice and it took place in Alexandria, Virginia, and someone brought a gun and they were targeting Republicans, specifically asking beforehand if it was a Republican or Democrat team practicing. And he was the House Majority Whip at the time and was shot in the hip and suffered serious internal injuries. With the Brett Kavanaugh, he had an attempt on his life. His incident was back in June of 2022 outside of his home in Maryland. This is not something that's unusual. It's been going on for a long time, but I have noticed on my news, I've been getting a lot of bombardment of we need to protect our leaders, especially the President of the United States, especially after what happened with Trump being shot in the air, if you don't remember that. And I forgot about Nixon. Yes, Nixon he did have an attempt on his life in 1974. It was a plot to hijack a commercial plane out of Baltimore Washington International Airport and crash it directly into the White House to kill President Nixon. God, I know some of you Democrats that watch my channel would love I'm not going to say what, but you guys know what I'm saying. Listen, since when did we feel the need to go all out for our presidential leaders? When did this actually start? Because we know that back in the past, all of these leaders, right, our president, all the founding fathers, they had some sort of protection in that they had people around them and there were people protecting them. They're going to have lifelong security where their children, their family members. Listen, if you're not doing something egregious, why do you need so much bloody protection? 1901, the Secret Service under the Department of Treasury was officially tasked with protecting the president. Initially, it was just a part-time gig, all right? Speeches and things like that. It wasn't like around-the-clock security. And it became formalized and permanent in 1913 after numerous threats to President Woodrow Wilson. And then it expanded, obviously, after the JFK murder. Why now? Why all this urgent spin about presidential safety? As you can see here, based on these articles I've come across today. A new Senate report on Trump assassination attempt calls for more severe disciplinary action. But the report also criticized the agency for insufficient accountability following the attack. Not a single person has been fired, it said. The committee believes more than 6 individuals should have received disciplinary action as a result of their action or inaction on July 13, 2024. Those who were disciplined received penalties far too weak to match the severity of the failures. Remember the optics of what's going on right now in the world with the Epstein Black Book being the third rail of politics, and because someone else is about to be exposed. And I think I know who that someone else is through his actions last week. So the fastest way to distract the public is with fear and drama. And Trump, I remember watching him get that air sniped off and thinking to myself, we've always known the system is broken, but now it's like, are we even pretending anymore? You mean to tell me the entire Secret Service with drones, facial recognition, AI surveillance, and enough tax-funded toys to make Batman jealous, we couldn't prevent that incident or even respond properly? No, I'm sorry. I'm just not buying it. Then we got Ryan Ruth, who openly apologized to America for trying to off the president. Now, Ryan Ruth faces 5 counts, including attempted assassination of a major presidential candidate over allegations he pushed the muzzle off a rifle through the perimeter of Trump's West Palm Beach golf course. He said to everyone, "Dear world, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I am so sorry I failed you." What? By the way, he's set to go to trial September 8th, but this isn't normal behavior. That's not a lone wolf. That's a puppet following orders or chasing a payout. And why do these attempts always feel suspiciously internal? I mean, do I need to say any more? It's our own leaders that call on getting these people. Wow, who would have thought that electing a rapist would have complicated the release of the Epstein file? This is from Congresswoman AOC. These are her own words. So you see, I think most of the internal fighting is what causes these threats on these leaders' lives. That's how surreal this has become. It always feels vague, always half the story. I'm clearly not saying the CIA, FBI, or intel agencies are behind it or anything. I'm not saying that. But let's not pretend these institutions aren't above corruption. Everybody is corruptible, period. That's not just a theory, that's human nature. We hire Secret Service agents like they're infallible superheroes, but they are just people at the end of the day. People who can be bought, people who can be sold, blackmailed, and even threatened. So here's the real question. Who's inside the machine playing both sides? Because I don't see average Americans pulling this off. Sure, people talk online, they trash talk. But even with getting angry, an actual assassination attempt? No. See, most of it is coordination, government adjacent. That's ops level planning. Let's also not forget James Comey, the ex-FBI director, posted 8747. Code or not, how do you end up on a list now for the Secret Service? Because that's what will happen to you when you do this stuff. You say the wrong thing, they're listening to your phone, your TV, everything is watching you. Even your Roomba vacuum might be snitching on you too. This is why I say don't speak recklessly in public, not even online, because the same leaders protecting themselves with walls, because they have walls and guards and a blank check security, they are the ones leaving you with rising prices, surveillance state, and zero answers. They spend billions defending their own lives, but can't release a full Epstein list. We just want to know who was doing these activities. This is my prediction. There will be a narrative blitz that will protect the president, fund the Secret Service, they're going to fund that, clamp down on dangerous speech, aka regular people like myself and you with working brains, and quietly blur everything tied to Epstein. Final thought, power protects itself. It's never about us. It's not about your safety. It's not about the Constitution. It's about maintaining their power at all costs. Do you believe that the attempts on Donald Trump's life are organic or orchestrated? Thanks for watching. Stay smart. Think for yourself, as always, and have a great day.